Okay guys, after the material has been incinerated and screened, got my auger. I got a couple of screens here. This is the screens I use. Got this one, it's just a plain old screen from I don't know, the dollar store somewhere. I bought it. It's real simple, fits in the top of the bucket. It's really nice, but the holes are a little larger than this, and this is the screen that goes on your storm door or window. So I screen this first to get the larger pieces, then I screen to this. This is the last screen I use, and by then it's pretty much as small as I want it. Now what I've done is I've put all the ash in this bucket, and I've added a few drops of dish soap. Now I'll take my auger and I'll put it in here and just stir everything up. Make sure there's no dry powders in the bottom. Make sure that the soap is reached all the way to the bottom. Now keep in mind that gold is 19 times heavier. Gold is 19 times heavier than water. Now, muddy water will float gold. So you want to let it sit for a few moments. But after you've mixed it, you put a little soap in there and you put the water in, you've mixed it real well. It doesn't take long for the gold bonding wires to settle back to the bottom. Now everything that's floating on top of this is trash. It's what was left out of the chips that'll float. It's whatever trash was in my bucket. It's whatever trash that I picked up off the ground. Now instead of just discarding this, you want to put it in another bucket. Now you want to pour this off and be real careful when it gets low, and slow down quite a bit, because you don't want to pour off any of the ash from the bottom. You want to get as much of the water. You see how the ash pours down to the bottom? Trust me, there's not any gold in that. Alright. Now, what I'll do is, I'll take my water hose, I'll fill this back up with water, and I'll repeat this process, this step. During the time that I'm doing this step, all the ash that poured out of here settles. And I'll pour this water into another bucket, and it'll be completely barren. Then when I repeat this process, I'll pour it back into this bucket. Then I'll repeat this process. When I get done with this, I pour this one into the other catch bucket and proceed with these 3 steps until the water that comes out of this bucket is clear. Now by the time I get to where this water coming out of this bucket is clear, I'll have removed all of the ash that is light enough to float out. Now I've tested this before, and I've tested the ash that came into the second bucket and didn't recover any amount of recoverable values, whether it was gold or silver or anything else. So doing it this way, I know that I'm trapping all the values in this first bucket. The only way you can lose the values is if you get in a hurry and you pour the ash out of this bucket. If you leave this amount of water in it every time, you're not going to pour out values. Because trust me, after you shake it for a few seconds, all the gold that's in here is going to be against the bottom of that bucket. It's heavy. It doesn't like to move. Gold being 19 times heavier than water, it's hard to wash it out of this bucket. I'm going to have a hard time washing it out of this plastic bucket when I get ready to transfer it into the container I'm going to be processing in. And that's the honest truth about it. It's hard to get gold out. And that's what led me to the conclusion that rinsing this over and over in this way, I'll remove so much of the ash that the tiny part of the ash that's going to be left will be no consequence when it's time to process the metals in here. But that's the way I do it. I'm going to cut this off because I'm not going to keep videoing the process of just filling it up with water and pouring it out and filling it up and pouring it out. When I get down to where I can see the bonding wires, then I'll come back, I'll show you the bonding wires, and then we'll get busy with processing it and making a gold bar out of it.